All right, well, I have 6:02, and in the interest of time, we're gonna go ahead and get started. And again, as I said, we're gonna juggle the agenda so that some people can jump off and get to other obligations and other meetings. So my name is Sonja Hunsinger, for those of you who don't know me. We hold these events, the Second Century Alliance holds these events to provide status reports and updates on all of the exciting activities that are happening in the city of Coatesville. Hopefully our next one we can have in person and go back to having these interactive events in person, but for now we're going to try and keep everybody safe and healthy. So I do want to let you know that we do record them. We do record these programs and they live on the city's YouTube channel. So you can go back and view older ones and review this one later on. So with that, again, we're going to juggle the agenda and I'm going to present, or I'm going to introduce Joe DeSciullo, Chairman of the Coatesville Redevelopment Authority, for his brief report, and then he'll jump off and then we'll move to James. So Joe.
Good evening. Thank everybody for dialing in. We have just a few items going on with the RDA. The Redevelopment Authority has finalized the redevelopment agreement for the flats. It has been passed on to the city solicitor, and I anticipate he will be passing that on to the members of city council for their consideration at some time later this week, so they have some time to review it. The other issue that we have that's very important is PennDOT has told us that the train station will be going out to bid in June. So we should get a bid on the train station here by June. They're both very important things that we need to get done in order for the city to move forward.
Great. And as is our custom with these events, we don't have interactive questions and answers from each presenter. We sort of hold those all until the end of the program. I curate them and then we'll answer them at the end of the program. So if you have any questions for any of the presenters, just type them in the chat and we'll answer them at the end of the meeting, if that's okay. Anything else to add, Joe?
I'm sorry, I have another commitment. Thank you.
I know you do. Thanks for jumping
have a nice
on.
evening, everyone.
We appreciate it. And with that, we'll turn it over to James Logan.
I was going to say Zeke did in such a record time, we could ask him some questions. But I
know you have to jump off too. So
yeah, unfortunately I do. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you all for attending tonight's Coatesville update. Sonny, thanks for putting this together. As always, it's nice to see. I have 43 plus people on the call tonight, so that's great. That's a great turnout. Just to kind of bring everyone up to date on a few projects, you may have heard in my last report out at the last city council meeting, we're moving forward with a lot of development here. Many of you have been experiencing the new 3082 realignment, remobilization. That's right at First and Lincoln Highway. We have resumed the construction work on that. Ymca, who is the company, the construction company out there, they're working with Cedarville and PennDOT, working hand in hand to complete this major intersection. The completion is scheduled for September this year, but in the meantime, they're making every effort to move this project along, and hopefully they might actually be completed late August or mid-August. So we're just anticipating some good weather to help us get through that. In addition to the work that's on the 3082 area, you all have noticed a lot of work that PennDOT is doing on 82, all the way down to Lumbar. That is the box beam work that was promised many years ago. So we're very excited that they decided to, just do from curb to curb, kind of on each side, each direction, and that just makes it a lot smoother coming into the city. So again, just, if you run into some traffic, just be patient because traffic means progress. Onto the Gateway project, which is on the corner of First and Lincoln Highway. That is DEPG, the owner's Jim DePetris. They are working through 2 phases of that particular project. Right now, they're working on phase 1, which is a 14,000 square foot phase that will include 3 tenants, one of them being Prosper Bank. We're very excited that Prosper will be joining that corner there. We're excited to see what the drawings and renderings are going to look like, and hopefully we'll have something for the public in the next couple of months in terms of what some of the drawings will look like for that building over there. But the total project is 34,000 square feet, and we're just breaking it up into 2 phases right now. As we move down Lincoln Highway, well, let me just move up west. You all are familiar with Susan Springsteen's project, 190 West Lincoln Highway. Sue Springsteen is moving at a fast pace to get into her building. You've seen the concrete walls. I mean, this is progress here in the community, and it looks great. And we're very excited that she continues to make progress. She already has some tenants that have signed up with her. That's very exciting. And I'm going to let her at one of our meetings, or maybe this next meeting, tell you all when her move-in date. I'm not going to steal that surprise from her, but she's very excited, as the city of Coatesville is too. So moving now east, we are also working on streetscapes from 1st to 3rd Avenue. You'll see improvements on the sidewalks, some of the, just kind of amenities on both sides of the street. We'll be working through some grants to hopefully extend that to 4th Avenue. Second Century Alliance, Sonny has been very instrumental in working with the Coatesville kind of construction team to make sure that we all play nicely in the sandbox. And the projects are moving along really well. We have a great team of people working together, from the RDA to Cedarville to PennDOT, and to all of our contractors that are making this happen in the city. Continuing eastward, we have the train station project. Zeke just mentioned that those particular bids will be out in June. That is probably going to be the biggest construction project here in the city of Coatesville in years. The train station, along with the train station garage. Combined projects between the train station, the garage, 190, the flats project, I think we're looking upwards of $160 million just in project and construction, right. Which is an incredible, shot in the arm for the city. Shot in the arm. Did you get that? Shot in the arm for the city of Coatesville. I got both shots. All right. I wanted to just say thanks to our public works guys. They have been out doing some tremendous work in the community, cleaning up. We've had a number of issues still related to dumping in the city, but our public works guys are out there. My hat goes off to you guys if you're listening. We appreciate all the work that you're doing with your full staff of only 4 people. So, I think that's tremendous what they're doing out there. And they'll continue to work hard as we get into the summer months. They'll be out there doing some of the works in the parks, striping, preparing to, bring the young people back to play some basketball this summer. And again, thanks to Public Works for making that happen. In addition to Public Works, our codes department has been stepping up efforts to make sure that the quality of life is improving here in the city of Coatesville. We have a newcomer, Ms. Kyle, has been out working hard on quality of life issues with our supervisor, Steve Dobson, and Stacia James in that department. And we have a newest member, Andrew Gable, who is working all on quality of life and code issues and inspections. And we're just very excited that everyone is coming together. Real quick, and I know I got to wrap up soon. I'm looking at the clock there. Just want to give a quick update on a couple of PA water future projects. And these are slated for this year. I don't have the actual dates yet, but as soon as I get those dates, we'll be posting them on our website. They will be doing work on Harlan and Adams Drive this year. That will be a sewer replacement work. And then we also have some work that's going to be done on Harmony Street from 6th to Modena Alley. Once again, that's going to be sewer replacement. Kind of like wrapping things up, April, just a few dates here. April 10th, the City of Coatesville will be co-hosting a job fair with Morgan Corp. They are one of the leading manufacturers of commercial truck bodies. The event's going to be here at City Hall at 10 a.m. To 2 p.m. The job fair is by appointment only, but we do have information posted on our website, which is www.coatesville.org. Real quick on COVID updates, and I think Commissioner Maxwell, if I have some time left, please take it. But just a real quick update. We do have a vaccination center here. Most of you know that now. It's the Coatesville Senior Center. They are administering phase 1A individuals shots. If you read the day's daily local, you did see that the new vaccine registration system was launched. So any phase 1 individuals can register or call the call center to do so. The call center will manage your entire household. So if you have members that need vaccinations, the call center will handle that. It'll take your appointments, locations, and your registration code, so to speak, will be your email address. So if you haven't registered, if you're a 1A individual, if you know 1A individuals, please get them registered. And I'll let the commissioner talk about some of the other things related to, if he can, related to the actual shots being administered. The last thing I want to close with is Parks and Recreation. Our Parks and Recreation Committee, they'll be working hard this summer to put together a few programs. And also on April 17th in Ash Park, the City and Natural Lands Trust will unveil preliminary ideas and park concepts for the park at 1 p.m. Once again, that's April 17th, 1 p.m. In Ash Park. Let's see. Special event applications. Everyone's been asking me about when is the City of Coatesville going to accept special event applications. We will begin accepting special event applications the week of April 25th. We will review each application and take into consideration COVID guidelines and restrictions. We don't want all of the parks to be jam-packed with people. So we're going to take our time in going through that selection process. So please check the website under permits and licensing to get a special event application. And we hope everyone, once we start to, allow to get out a little bit more in the public, I think it'll be great. You did hear the governor that said that they're increasing the numbers for outdoor gatherings, which is good. So they're, they want people to get out, but they also want people to be mindful of the guidelines and, wipes, social distancing, and masks, of course. I think that is it for now. So thank you very much, you all. And I do apologize that I have to leave, but it was wonderful to be with you for this short time.
Well, and I know we have Commissioner Maxwell and Commissioner Moskowitz just joined us as well. Commissioner Maxwell, did you want to take a few moments to make some remarks?
Sure. I'll just follow up on what James mentioned. Can I be heard? I'm using earphones for the first time. Can you hear me, Sonny?
Can hear you just fine.
All right, great. Yeah, James called me about an hour and a half ago about some vaccine stuff, and I was giving him some detail, and he suggested I just jump in and give you guys some information. Right now, the county health department gets 7,341st doses a week, and we have about 15,000 to 20,000 coming to all Chester County providers. The county set up that vaccination center at the Coatesville Senior Center, make sure that we were getting folks over 65 in the Coatesville area vaccinated as quickly as possible. The county opened up yesterday appointments for all of 1A, scheduling out more than 2 months, so that anyone in 1A right now can get an appointment from the county health department. They can do it one of two ways. One, they could go to chesco.org/coronavirus and go through the registration system there and set up a registration with the portal and schedule an appointment today for a future date. That could be tomorrow, that could be 3 weeks from now, wherever is convenient. Another way for them to schedule is to just call the call center, as James mentioned, and that phone number is 610-344-6225. So if someone wants to schedule an appointment over the phone, it doesn't feel up for the web stuff, they can make a phone call and do it. And we want everyone in 1A to schedule an appointment as quickly as possible. So we know how many doses we need to save for 1A, and we know how quickly we can move into future phases. Additionally, the county has a Homebound program. So if someone can't get to either the Coatesville Senior Center or one of our other 6 vaccination sites, they can call that number, or someone can call on their behalf and schedule an appointment for a couple of EMTs to stop by the house and get them vaccinated. So 3 different ways for folks to get vaccinated there: Homebound, making phone calls, or scheduled through the portal. Additionally, we started ramping up a health equity plan. We're allocating a certain percentage of the vaccines coming into the county health department specifically for people who are experiencing health inequity. And that could be anywhere in the county where someone might have access to a doctor or for whatever reason has barriers to getting healthcare. So we're allocating a certain percentage of our vaccines every single week to make sure that we're getting to those populations in Chester County, and more importantly, getting the folks who are extraordinarily vulnerable to COVID-19. The county requested Johnson & Johnson. One of the things we've learned through the first couple months of doing that is some folks want options to decrease hesitancy towards getting vaccines. So we're pushing really hard to make sure that we get J&J into Chester County as quickly as possible. So if someone has reservations about one vaccine, maybe we can provide another opportunity for them where they feel more comfortable and get to the safe place as quickly as possible. It just came out today that there's going to be some announcements about future phases from the Pennsylvania Department of Health tomorrow. So we'll wait with bated breath to see what those are. And coming in the pipeline soon is a new vaccination center at the Brandywine Ymca. As we start to expand out, we want to make sure that we're getting to different geographic areas of the county and making it easy for people to get vaccines. And as always, Sunny, James, and everyone in the Coatesville community, Marion, myself, all of us are here. If anyone has any questions, please just pick up the phone, call our offices, shoot us an email. I know James does a really good job keeping us in the loop every week with what's going on in Coatesville and how we can be most helpful. I would just let you all know that we're here to help in any way we can.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. Linda, would you like to take the floor?
I can wait till the end if you like. I can hang out.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thanks.
No
So we
problem.
do have some chats that I will look at in just a minute when we're finished with all the presentations. But I wanted to take a second. I actually added myself to the agenda tonight because
Wow.
I'd like to give you an update on the Second Century Alliance. We usually create this platform so that everybody else can talk and tell you about all the relevant activities going on in the city. But for some of you, I wanted to give you an overview as an introduction to Second Century Alliance. But then for those of you who are familiar with the organization, you might still have some questions. So just want to take a couple of minutes, review our goals, highlight some of our accomplishments, and illustrate basically how we work to support Coatesville. And as we talked a little bit before, Coatesville certainly has been building some traction, but it's not always easy to see because a lot of the work that we're doing now is behind the scenes. It serves to lay this foundation to sort of set the table for smart strategic growth and the opportunities that lie ahead. So the Second Century Alliance was created in 2015 when Coatesville celebrated 100 years as a third-class city, hence the name Second Century. We're working to ensure that the city's second century is economically prosperous. Then in 2018, we incorporated as an independent not-for-profit organization. And our funding comes from contributions from the private sector and from the Chester County Commissioners and the Department of Community Development. So thank you to our commissioners on the call tonight.
Thank
Our close ties with the county and the city administration, they give us these strong underpinnings that we need to strategically manage the economic growth that's happening in Coatesville. We operate with an 18-member all-volunteer board comprised of key business owners and community leaders. And you can actually find all of their names listed on our website. And by the way, if you happen to run into any of them, thank them for their service. In fact, we have, I don't want to miss anybody, but Linda's on our board. Dennis Dantzler's on the call today. He's on our board, and there are a number of others, but I don't want to list them because you always miss one. So they're all listed on our website. So just let me share with you some of what we've been able to accomplish over these last 5 years with this volunteer leadership. And this one's important, recognizing the intersection between fueling economic development and preserving our residential neighborhoods. We secured a 5-year grant to bring on a community coordinator, Urias Cole. Many of you know Urias and have worked with him. He's charged with implementing the Growing Greater Neighborhood Stabilization Plan. And this work is incredibly important to make sure that our residents are positioned to grow as the community grows and not be displaced by economic progress. Then we secured a 6-year grant to bring on a downtown manager to focus solely on downtown revitalization. Through 2 major donors, 6-year commitment, Hickory Bark and Knox Property or Knox Equipment Rental. Those donors are contributing over the course of 6 years to a downtown revitalization strategy and a downtown manager whose priorities are to support existing businesses, recruit new retail and hospitality businesses, and make sure that the downtown is clean, safe, green, and bustling with activity. Then we advocated for and were successful in securing the designation for all 4 census tracts to be qualified opportunity zones. You may remember that this is that federal investment incentive for investors with capital gains tax liabilities. And as James mentioned, hopefully you've been past 190 West Lincoln Highway and seen firsthand that construction project of an Nth Innovation Center. That is a direct result of the QOZ program. And we continue to work to facilitate and promote that program along with other development incentives in the city. And then last year, we were able to deploy 3 downtown facade grants, leveraging, we took $20,000 and leveraged it into more than $60,000 in building preservation and improvements. And with the funding we got again this year, we'll be able to do 3 more. We work hand in glove with the city administration and the redevelopment authority to promote development opportunities, help individuals, businesses, and investors navigate processes and protocols when opening a business or purchasing a property for development in the city. And we consistently cultivate and foster relationships with elected officials, acting as a liaison to partner organizations and public entities, keeping them informed and connected, much like we're doing right now with these community updates. Now, I mentioned that we started in 2015, so last year marked 5 years in operation. We took this opportunity to embark on an organizational strategic planning exercise, which included a survey of many stakeholders and community partners. The responses we received from that survey helped us to design new and clearly defined goals for the next few years. Here they are. Number 1, drive economic development and revitalization by supporting and advocating for existing businesses and new development within a business-friendly environment that values diversity, inclusion, and our city's proud heritage. Number 2, provide access to tools, resources, and connections that support job creation and employment opportunities. Number 3, communicate, coordinate, and develop strong relationships with all stakeholders, including our city's business and residential communities, government agencies, key companies, organizations, and investors. And lastly, number 4, market and publicize Coatesville's positive attributes and competitive advantages as a welcoming environment for investment, business development, and civic engagement. They are listed on our website at secondcenturyalliance.org under the About Us tab, in case you didn't catch all that. So you can see there are a lot of moving parts to what we do. And we invite business and community members to call on us when they need support for any number of reasons. When a business needs support finding a location, we can connect them to resources or possible sites. We're a resource for finding capital, technical support. We support the city's workforce development initiatives. We play an active role in legislative advocacy at the county, state, and federal levels to advance real estate interests and other interests. We serve as a liaison and support to the Redevelopment Authority, and we help make connections for social services. So just as we keep businesses in the community informed, we invite you to send us news and updates and keep us apprised of what you have going on, or if you should need assistance. Because if we can't help you, we'll connect you with someone who can. So never hesitate to contact us. You can email me or directly into the website at info@secondcenturyalliance.org. You can always call us, our number's on the website, or check in at the website. There's a contact page there you can link in. So thank you for indulging me a few minutes to just update you on Second Century Alliance. And again, if you have any questions, just type them into the chat and I'll answer them at the end of the program. With that, we're happy to have back Tomas Hanna, Superintendent of the Coatesville Area School District. Tomas?
Hi, Sonny. Hi, everybody. Good to see everyone. Hope you're enjoying this beautiful weather. It's great to be back again, Sonny. Thank you for the invitation, and
My pleasure.
I look forward to updating you on where things are. I'm going to tell you what, we're really thrilled. As of March 15th, we were able to welcome back many more students to increase in-person learning, and so from that perspective, we're so very happy to see the students. We had a really nice piece in the Daily Local this morning that focused on East Fallowfield Elementary School, where students who had an opportunity to put together a video that helped students learning how to take the bus for the first time, because can you believe it, it's March, and for some of our students, taking the bus for the first time happened 2 or 3 weeks ago. So that was really good to see. As I've visited schools to see the energy of our young people, we couldn't wait to have them back. That's where we believe they belong. That's what we signed up for, to have students in our schools in in-person learning. Our teachers have been absolutely fantastic. Our principals have been absolutely fantastic. Our parents have been phenomenal over this year. I mean, we're over a year now from when we all went virtual. And so I am absolutely thrilled to be able to, to welcome students back. And I know our parents are thrilled about it as well. It was priceless to see the smiles. And what I tell the students, is I know they're smiling because I see cheekbones go up right under the mask. So that's a really good thing to see. And I look forward to continuing to visit our schools and to see how things are going. And we're going to be surveying parents to be sure, and families to be sure that the experience has been a positive one. And what is it that we can do to improve on what we do, and frankly celebrate what we do, because it's been a long road, and our students deserve this. So we're thrilled about that. We constantly remind our young people, our students, and frankly some of our adults, the importance of the mitigation strategies, right? Of wearing our masks and making sure that we're using our hand sanitizer and washing well and keeping distance. And so that's been something that we've been thrilled about. Early on, we were really concerned about, will they keep the masks on? Like, what would that be? And our students have just taken to it. So we're really thrilled, and our adults as well. So that's been great. So we're thrilled about that. The other thing we're doing, I think, is important to share with you. Two more. Part of what we're attempting to do is figure out what we can scale up. What have we learned over this past year that we can keep right? And so we have had families, and I was on a Zoom a week or two ago in one of the townships where families were saying, you know, this virtual like worked for our family, right? And so one of the questions is like, what of that remains as we sort of move forward? Because flexibility is something that I think our families want us to think about, and what could that look like? So to that end, we're taking a look at how our Coatesville Area School District cyber programming can help around, you know, around that. And we've actually are in the process of surveying our families who have remained virtual to see if that's something that they'd want us to sort of think about with them around what that could look like next year. We will be doing a more public report to the board at our next meeting, so that we can share with the public, you know, what that could look like. The last thing I'll share, well, two more things I'll share, but the last thing, one of the last two things I'll share is our comprehensive planning. So Sonja, I heard you speak about the work of the strategic planning work that your team has done. Our district has actually completed what's called the comprehensive planning process in Coatesville, which is tied to the Pennsylvania Department of Education. And our board voted to approve this comprehensive plan at our last meeting. And I'm really thrilled to say that sort of helps us set the guidelines or the guideposts for our work as we move forward. And there are three overarching goals, four actually overarching goals. One, tied to student achievement, right? And for that, it's like what our curriculum looks like. A curriculum redesign is in process. We have our teachers helping us write this curriculum to be sure that it meets the needs of our students. That will also include sort of, you know, internal assessments that we can provide to our students to be sure that we know how students are doing. The student achievement goal will speak to professional development of our professionals, of our educators. The student achievement goal will also speak to student supports and interventions. So when students are struggling, and we know that happens, what are the types of innovative interventions that we can do with students to support them, you know, on their journey? And then another goal relative to student achievement is continuing the expansion of our special education services, because we know that is something that has been very important to our community. We're glad to be able to bring them back. We want to, you know, be sure that we're effective and share that with folks. The other three goals are pretty quick: student, climate, and culture. We also know that's important for our community as well. And what that means is you know, from our perspective is a look at equity, right? And so how are we looking at data, right? How are we looking at disciplinary data? Is there disproportionality, you know, around that? We're going to conduct equity audits, which will help us take a look at, you know, our classroom libraries. How representative are they of our entire school community? We're going to take a look at all of our systems and structures to be sure that those systems, you know, are grounded in equity. How are we spending our funds? You know, what types of materials are we purchasing? You know, things of that sort. You may have heard of the term positive behavior intervention supports, and that's a strategy that we're using in the district to really support expectations of students and what it is that we expect for students to engage in our schools as well as adults. Like what is behavior? What is acceptable? How do we learn? How do we treat one another? And, you know, and things of this sort. So we're very thrilled about that. On the facility side, the board is very interested, and we're interested in sort of putting together a facilities master plan to take a look at our properties to be sure that they are, you know, where they need to be, meeting the needs of the students in our community. That's a much longer process, but we're engaged there, as well as a multi-year facilities maintenance plan. Because far too often we see, you know, neglected maintenance, and how does this, you know, how does this play with it within the district? The last goal is one that's tied to finance and making sure that, real simple goal, a balanced budget every year. I mean, pretty basic. We can be sure that we are stewards of the public dollar, so that our community is trusting us in terms of the work we're doing. A couple of other issues I'll share with you is we're thrilled, and I heard the vaccination programming that James and Mr. Maxwell spoke to. And we're thrilled. We're very happy that through the governor's initiative and the CCIU, the Chester County Intermediate Unit, we have been able to have many of our educators vaccinated using with the J&J vaccination. And so that's helpful because we know that just gives people more peace of mind. And so that's in there. Not everyone's done yet. Most people are done, and we're really happy about that. We're talking about summer programming. So at our next board meeting, we'll have a presentation on what summer programming is going to look for our students. How are we supporting the core learning, as well as what types of activities are we planning for students that sort of help them with their with our social and emotional skills. We want students to catch up, but we also want students to enjoy themselves and sort of get out and just, you know, engage in a series of activities that just give them a real good sense of belonging and getting to see and meet their friends once again in a socially, physical, responsible manner, but making sure that those are opportunities that our students have in the summer. I mean, other than that, we are really looking forward to, last thing here is CARES funding, and the PD has released information around for districts in terms of what they can expect with CARES funding, and Coatesville Area School District can expect a nice, pardon the pun, shot in the arm with regard to the CARES funding. And so we're looking forward to putting those plans together over 2 years. And so the funding is good through 24. And so this is one of these things where we want to be very, very deliberate and very clear about what the needs of our students are, so that the type of programming and supports that we provide our students on the academic side, as well as on the social emotional side, as well as on potentially the infrastructure side, to be sure that our buildings are what they need to be, with PPE and things of that sort are where we need to be. So there's a lot going on. I try to get it all in one breath. I apologize for going so quickly, but I just want to, again, Sunny, thank you for the opportunity and share with you what's happening in the district.
Thank you, Tomas. We really appreciate the update and certainly appreciate your trial by fire and stepping into that role over there. It's been a challenging year for you. So next up, we have Vanessa Briggs with the Brandywine Health Foundation. Vanessa?
Thank you, Sunny, and appreciate having the opportunity to give an update. I think it's been a while since we were able to give an update in this particular forum, so I'm going to try to be as concise as the prior presenters and sort of tell you just a little bit about what's going on with the Brandywine Health Foundation. And as everyone on this particular platform knows, that the Brandywine Health Foundation serves as a grant maker for the greater Coatesville community and providing grants to our nonprofits to make sure that our community and our residents can be thriving and live healthy and well. And so a lot of what I'll talk about are really the impacts as a result of the coronavirus. And we quickly pivoted early on and have given out about $550,000 over an 8-month period just to respond to some of the urgent needs that we were seeing our community needing. And community, when I say community, it is the greater Coatesville area that encompasses the 9 townships and municipalities of the Coatesville Area School District. And so we've been giving it a lot of thought, just as being responsive. What are the urgent needs, but how do we also support our nonprofit sector? I think there's a couple of colleagues that have participated on a couple of surveys and looking at the strength and the resilience of our nonprofit sector. And quite frankly, a lot of them have less than 3 months of operating support on to sort of continue on with their programs and services. So at the Brandywine Health Foundation, we're just trying to figure out what is the best level of support that we can provide to our nonprofit partners. And we did give out a round of just general operating grants that lasted over a 14-month period, because we knew that the impact of COVID was going to be ongoing. It wasn't just going to be 1 year, it's going to be ongoing. So we're going to continue to sort of explore what that's going to look like in terms of continuing to build the capacity of the nonprofit sector to meet the needs of the community. And then even within our own foundation, people may not know that there are a couple of real estate properties that the foundation owns, and we've even had some negative impacts as a result of the coronavirus. And we own the Brandywine Consignment shop, which is located technically in Downingtown. And that building was a consignment shop that was predominantly run from older population of volunteers and just not able to sustain itself for the entire year. So the Brandywine Consignment Shop Board along with our board, made the decision that the consignment shop was going to close. So now we're in the process of selling real estate that's located in Downingtown. So I raise that up because I recognize that although we may be a foundation with an endowment with money, we too are dealing with some of the implications of the coronavirus and just trying to figure out how to navigate. The Brandywine Center, many of you may or may not know, we are also the owner of that particular building, which is a mixed-use building of 24 subsidized senior housing units, along with 2 floors of commercial space that we rent out to our nonprofit sector. And we know that our nonprofit sector, as I mentioned, they've also been struggling because in their inability to do fundraising because of the impact of the virus. So we're having difficulty maintaining tenants in that particular building on 2 floors. So we're having some internal discussions about how best to repurpose that building that can continue to meet the needs of the community. So hopefully the next time I'm invited to give an update, I may have some further updates around how we may be reusing that building, the Brandywine Center, continuing to keep the primary care services that are on the 4th floor, because we know that that's critically important to the community. But there is 1 floor that we won't have tenants on, and we need to sort of figure out how do we transform that space to fill a community need. And so I'm just sort of lifting up some of the implications of the virus for the foundation, the community as a whole. You heard me mention that we were responsive and gave out significant dollars in a short period of time in response to the COVID virus, but we sort of wanted to take a pause and get a sense of, well, what are the current needs? And so we recently launched a survey, very brief, 4 or 5 questions. And it was a community survey that we had over 1,300 people respond to this survey. And we intentionally wanted to cast the net widely. So Tomas, thank you for pushing it out through your network and all of the parents, which I think allowed us to reach over 1,300 people. And it was made up of about 56 residents, 32 business owners, 20% of people who work in Coatesville, and about 1-2% of others that sort of represents the survey. So I can sort of share with you some of the preliminary results because it does close actually tomorrow. And so we're hoping to get a few more survey results, but we wanted to know what were the most pressing needs as a result of the impact of the virus. And some of the results that we receive out of the 1,300 respondents, 22% said employment was at the top of their list in terms of urgent need, along with following education. And when we say education, we're talking about preschool all the way up through pre-K all the way up to 12th grade. And so 21% of our respondents felt that education was a very top priority. And then the third priority was housing. 15% said housing was a priority. I won't read all the results because there's about a couple of other categories, but we framed the categories based off of what we like to call the social determinants of health. What are those social, environmental, and economic impacts and conditions that are impacting our community negatively? I can say mental health is one of those cross-cutting things that we heard, regardless of who we asked, as top priority for our community, where we had about 16% of our respondents say mental health and well-being is a top priority. So I'll be able to share the final results once we close the survey tomorrow, but just kind of wanted to give you a sense of what is our community saying our needs are. And what is a health foundation asking these types of questions? Because we know that we're not going to really be able to improve a person's individual health, manage chronic diseases, if we don't get at some of these social issues, because this is what's top of mind for individuals. And they're forgoing medication, doctor's appointments to address housing, employment, and educational needs. So that's why we wanted to go at this particular survey in the way that we did. And we feel as though when we move forward with our grant making strategies and just trying to align what we're investing in our grants within the community, how does that align with the survey results? How does that align with our strategic plan? Believe it or not, we're in year 2 of our plan. And we feel as though our plan is still very relevant, irregardless of sort of the outcomes that we have in the survey results and the impact of the pandemic. And so we have one particular strategy called integrated services. And we heard from our community loud and clear, they need services that are commingled. They don't want to go from building to building, from organization to organization to get all of their needs met. And so we came up with a strategy called integrated services. An example of that is the Brandywine Center, where we are funding chest pen health services to provide primary care, dental care. They're integrating behavioral health into that building. So that's an example of how you can integrate care among a variety of complex social issues. We have another initiative that we're launching, and the idea actually came from the community, from our nonprofits, telling us these are issues that we want to try to solve collectively. So we have what we're putting together as a collective impact fund. This particular initiative is focusing on homelessness, unemployment, and intensive case management. And in those three areas, we're hoping to address creating pipelines for African-American males 18 to 24 years old that have experienced homelessness and are on the brink of homelessness. So trying to find stable housing, trying to find pathways for employment. And so again, these are areas that our community said, this is a population that's kind of fallen through the cracks. There may be a lot of other housing supports for individuals but maybe not in that particular target range. And so I'm just trying to lift up a couple of examples around what we consider as integrated services. You'll see more of that coming from the foundation. Our third strategy is healthy environments. That's still very relevant because where you live matters. The resources that you have in your community matters. The work that Second Century is doing is helping to create a healthy community and a healthy environment. And so we're still going to be in partnership with Natural Lands, along with the city of Coatesville, in looking at the Greening Coatesville initiative. That's kind of been put on pause as a result of the pandemic and social distancing mandates and requirements. So we're about to launch that again, and you'll start to see some efforts again taking place around revitalizing, particularly Palmer Park, moving into phase 2 and phase 3 of that park. Our Greening Coatesville initiative, as you may or may not know, is an initiative that really looks at all the parks in the city of Coatesville, and there's about 9 of them. And so right now we're focusing on Palmer Park, and then you heard James talk about on April 17th, they'll be talking about some initiatives that they want to put into Ash Park. So these are all part of the Greening Coatesville initiative, and that falls under our healthy environments. And then the last strategy is about community voice. And you heard Tomas talk about equity. And at the foundation, we really do believe that oftentimes community has some of the solutions to their very problems, but we also know that resources sometimes are not equitably distributed. We know that projects aren't really touching the needs of the community because oftentimes, historically, the foundation may have thought that we had a great idea, we wanted to fund it, but then was it really what the community needed? And so we're really trying to listen hard and close to what the community is saying and be inclusive. And so we have a strategy called Community Voice that really allows the community to drive what the problems are, identifying the problems, and also co-creating what the solution should be, along with a group of other individuals. The foundation is a partner in these types of initiatives. We may provide some funding to it, but we also want to be a partner along with the community. So we have a specific project that we did get a grant for called the Black Renaissance Project. And it's looking at the arts. It's looking at our local talent in arts and how do you unify their voice and lift up what they're seeing through their eyes in terms of what are the problems in the city, and then what are some of the solutions, and how do you unify artists' voice from theater to dance to graphic design to artists to murals to spoken word. And so it's a very, very broad group of individuals representing local artists in the city of Coatesville that we've been working with. And they have a couple of events that they're going to be planning to lift up the voices of the community, that these are our issues, and this is how we want some of these issues to be resolved. And you'll see that being played out through arts, their artistic expression, given whatever area of expertise that they have. So we're really excited about that. You'll see panel discussions that the community is going to be putting on. We have part of a series where we're going to be teaching young people about filmmaking and how to use your voice through filmmaking and push that communication out. We'll be leading up to some racial equity trainings because we can't ignore what happened nationally last year. And we're in the middle of the trials right now for George Floyd, and we don't know what's going to resonate around that. And so we really want to make sure that we're leveling the playing field and bringing in some racial equity training for our community. And then we'll culminate it to a large expo. And they're planning the expo. The foundation's not planning it. We're working alongside of our community to plan the expo. So we're really excited about that. And then the last piece around our community voice is we've been hosting a series of Let's Talk. And we have one actually coming up tomorrow called Let's Talk Allyship. And this hinges on a lot of the equity training that we've been going through internally as a foundation, because we want to be sensitive, respectful, and understand all persons' lived experiences and really try to meet people where they're at. And so we're having a Let's Talk conversation with our philanthropic partners to talk about, well, what does it mean to be an ally? Oftentimes people can be in platforms such as this, or when we were meeting in person, and people can present ideas and suggestions. And sometimes not everybody's really nice, and people can say some pretty offensive things. And so Let's Talk Coatesville Allyship really is about, if you see something that's being said offensive against someone else, speak up, because being complacent is not going to solve some of the issues that we're seeing playing out throughout the community. So we're really excited about our Let's Talk, and I can share these two links, the survey link and the Let's Talk link, in the chat if you're interested in that. And then grant making, we are still deciding what our grant making is going to look like. You may have heard us say in the past that we are no longer going to stay on a grant cycle. One lesson we learned from COVID is the community's issues don't show up on a cycle, because that's when we're ready to release dollars from a fiscal period. And so we've got to figure out how to continue to be responsive, how do we meet urgent needs and emerging needs, and then how do we project from a strategic vantage point how to leverage and make investments in the long term. So our grant making is going through a complete revitalization, if you will, and it really is in response to COVID. People's issues don't show up quarterly. We used to give out grants every fall and maybe in the winter. So what happens to the rest of the lives? What happens to the rest of the time for the community that we're serving? So we're really just trying to position ourselves to be much more responsive and adopt some trust base. Our finance committee has been doing its due diligence over the last year, because we're ready to lean into what we call mission-aligned investing. This is separate and above from our grant making. And mission-aligned investing is really looking at areas of opportunity that the foundation can invest in that aligns with who we are as an organization and our mission, and aligns with our core values. And so if we value community inclusion, we value equity, health equity, racial equity, we value economic mobility, then that's where we're going to be trying to make some more substantial investments in the community. And these are in partnership with others. So again, stay tuned for more of that. That's new for us. It's looking at our endowment differently, and it's to complement our grant making, right? Our grant making cannot solve some of these complex issues that we're trying to solve in the community. And we feel as though mission aligned investment is another vehicle by which we can complement our grant making. So I'll end on that note. Sorry if I went over, but that's a little bit about what we're doing at the Brandywine Health Foundation.
That's
and
a
happy
lot.
to drop the links in the chat.
Yeah. Thank you, Vanessa, and thanks for your flexibility and adjusting to what the nonprofit needs are in the community through all of this. We have a couple of questions, but I want to give Linda, Lavender, Norris. Well, first of all, let me just take 1 second to recognize the elected officials in the room, so to speak. And if I miss anybody, it's because I'm having trouble seeing everybody on 3 screens. So I have Julia Loving here from Senator Comita's office. Julia, you want to make a wave there? Commissioners Moskowitz and Maxwell. We heard from Commissioner Maxwell. Commissioner Moskowitz, did you want to say a few words? Do you want to say hello?
Hello.
Hello. Not to put you on the spot.
No, I do want to, I don't want, I know you have a big meeting, but I just want to take this opportunity to say, please be careful. Our cases are going up. We really need you to be diligent. This is no time to get lax. Please, please. That's my message.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you for being here. Councilwoman Green is here. And if I apologize if I missed anybody, just type in the chat. And then I will hand it over to Council President Linda Lavender Norris for her remarks.
Well, good evening all. Thank you, Sunny, and thank you to Vanessa and Tomas and definitely James and Zeke. Thank you so much for your presentations. As Sunny said, I am Linda Lavender Norris, and I am the president of Coatesville City Council, and I also want to thank and acknowledge all of our elected officials for tuning in with us. I just want to take the time to kind of inform you as to where the city stands with regards to the flats and how that works out. So the RDA goes through their due diligence. They do all their background work. And once they've done their work, then they provide the city with a recommendation and supporting documentation. We as the city council then have to take that information and do our due diligence. Once we go through all that, then we as a council have to come together to determine whether we support the decision and the submission from the RDA or not. And at this point, we are waiting for the paperwork to be and information to be submitted to us. It's a multi-purpose arena and event center that's closer to reality in the city. And as Mr. Logan said, I think it was Zeke said earlier that they have submitted their paperwork. Our solicitor now has that in his hands. He has to go over it, and then it will be officially submitted to council for us to take our time, go through it, read through it, understand it. And if we have questions, then we'll take care of all that. We're excited because the project's going to have monthly reporting requirements. So that'll kind of keep the project on track and keep everybody up to date as to where they are with the work, what's going on, how it'll be done, and how soon we can expect it to be done. There's also requirements to ensure that the property remains subject to our real estate tax, because we want to be careful not to take any properties off our tax rolls at this point. And council will have the opportunity to review it in full. We'll probably vote on it in our April 12th meeting. So expect some exciting news coming forward and, you know, things to proceed with regard to the flats. We're completely excited about 190 West. Susan Springsteen kind of came in and hit the floor running and has not stopped since. And it happened in almost like warp speed. So we're grateful for that. As Sunny was mentioning, the Second Century Alliance, you know, our partnership, I kind of wear two hats. I am the president of Coatesville City Council, but I'm also the vice chair on Second Century Alliance. And so I kind of have an overview of what's going on, and the relationship between the city and Second Century and the county is awesome. It's like we're working together like a well-oiled machine. And that could be attributed to the success that you see moving forward in the city. So to the board members of Second Century and to our county commissioners, thank you so very much for working together with us to move our city forward. And we're greatly, greatly appreciative of all the different, I don't want to say business, all the different projects that are coming forth that will support and energize our residents. Because at the end of the day, everything we do is for our community, for our residents, and to partner our residents with the downtown businesses. It's going to be an amazing time for the city of Coatesville. So once again, I just want to say thank you. And I just want to also mention that I am appreciative and thankful for my colleagues. I know Vice President Councilwoman Green is on the call, or in the room, should I say.
I'm here.
I don't know if any of my other colleagues are on here. However, if they are, if they're not, please understand that I appreciate you. I thank you for your willingness to step up and do what's best for our city. So with that being said, thank you, God bless, and please, everybody enjoy your evening. That's me signing off, not the entire room closing down.
Thanks, Linda. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
I also want to recognize Representative Williams was actually on the call, but you have to understand, I've only got so many people on my screen. There are 3 more screens, so I couldn't see who was on. So my apologies to Representative Williams, and I appreciate that he was here, but he actually had to jump off.
Oh, okay.
So Commissioner Maxwell, you had your hand up at some point, because now's the time we can take questions in the chat.
Oh, I appreciate that, Sunny. No, I was clapping. Vanessa
Oh,
was
you were
talking about
clapping.
a program
Sorry.
for men between 18 and 23. So I hit the clap button. I like
Oh, okay. That looked like a hand raised to me. I guess I need glasses now. Councilwoman Green, you have a raised hand, or are you clapping too? She's on mute.
Wanted to comment to Ms. Vanessa Briggs. I truly appreciate the work and the effort that you put into what you do. I mean, just listening to you discuss how the needs don't always line up with fiscal years and things of that nature. And I so appreciate that, and how you are looking out for the residents of Coatesville and supporting the nonprofits and supporting businesses in our parks and things of that nature. This call is just so energizing, just to hear all the many things that are going on in the city. And I just wanted to Commissioner Maxwell and Commissioner Moskowitz, I so appreciate your efforts with the everything going on with the coronavirus and the vaccines. Marion, I support your comments so wholeheartedly, with the fact that our cases are mounting, they're going up. And I look at the fact that right now, and I don't know, we're reporting 19320, one zip code for all the municipalities. So when you look at that number, it doesn't look like the cases are moving that they're going up. But when you look at the individual municipalities, Coatesville is around 7.4, 7.5%. And we're going up we're over 980, almost 990 cases. And that just concerns me, especially with the schools opening up. I would just really like to see us have more walk-up facilities. And I know that we're trying to make it as easy as possible for people to register, but not saying that Coatesville is different, but the thing about it is a lot of people are not savvy on the computer, because I don't even think we're reaching all of our seniors by having them registered. But I think that if we had more walk-up vaccine sites, that people would get the vaccines, especially with school opening back up. And I know Mr. Hanna is doing such a super job. And I know that they're going to do everything in their power to keep things safe. But I would, there's so many organizations that have volunteered sites. I know Miss Minnie McNeil offered up the Seventh-day Adventist Church. They have that whole big separate sanctuary downstairs that they offered up that site in the West End. I know a few churches have opened up their sites. I know the CYWA offered their site. I would just like to see us have more walk-up testing And even in that, to be able to register people, because people are not calling in, you know, and they're relying on other people to help them to do that. I would just like to see more people get vaccinated quickly, because like I said, when we look at the numbers, we're at 7.5%. And that's probably one of the highest throughout all the municipalities. And it just concerns me, you know, that in the midst of us trying to get vaccinated, our cases are rising. So if you could take that into consideration, and I know you guys are doing a fantastic job, and this is not an easy task. You know, our county is so wide, so spread out, you know, and to be able to figure out a plan to encompass everyone and cover all this territory. But I'm just concerned about our area here. So thank you so much for listening to me. And I so appreciate everyone on this call. And thank you so much. That's it for me.
Okay, thanks, Carmen.
Mm-hmm.
There is one inquiry in the chat about the Marriott Hotel that has been shuttered since last March when COVID hit. While there are a lot of sort of back office transactional conversations about that hotel, what I can assure you is that the Chester County Economic Development Council is deeply involved in the communications around what's happening there. And so with the owner, there were some state funding involved, and there are some very complicated transactions that are aligned or that are affiliated with that hotel. And so the EDC, the Chester County Economic Development Council, is working with the county to make sure that whatever happens to the hotel, that it comes back to an open, high brand, some sort of a higher brand facility, and a hotel flag. So all I can say is that there are people working on that to get that reopened as soon as humanly possible. And that's really all I know. I don't know if one of the commissioners wants to add anything, if indeed they have anything to add.
I think at this point, Sunny, I think maybe we can update you when things are further along. Let's just put it that way. I'm trying to be diplomatic.
Yeah, no, I understand. And it has to do with the complexity of the financing and how that was all put together and how they're working to, you know, they're working with the owner and the state to make sure that that reopens as soon as possible. I think that's that's it. Is there a projected finish date for Septa? So I can speak to that. So James announced that the train station project will be going out to bid this year, hopefully in June. That it will take 3 to 6 months to get a shovel in the ground after the bid advertisement. So it's going to take a little while to get construction up and running. Once the shovel is in the ground for the new train station project, Amtrak and PennDOT anticipate a 3-year construction timeline, 2 to 3 years before that train station is complete, where you can actually get on the train at 4th and Fleetwood, as opposed to where you can get on it now at 3rd and Fleetwood. So once that train station is complete, then Septa has promised to restore service to the city of Coatesville. And I can assure you that as Amtrak and PennDOT work through all of the design process and engineering process for the new train station, they are consulting Septa to make sure that any engineering or changes to the track are conducive to bringing Septa back. So it won't be a situation where they make all these changes and then Septa says, oh, doesn't work for us. So Septa has been involved in these conversations all along with the train station. And so that's the timing for Septa, once the train station is done.
Tony, I think somebody had a question for Vanessa at one point. It went across the chat.
Okay, let me see.
Something about her and Brandywine
Oh, the
Hospital.
Brandywine, yeah, Brandywine Hospital. Vanessa, is the Brandywine Health Foundation affiliated with the hospital? And do we know about the future of the Brandywine Hospital?
I can speak to in terms of the structure that, no, we are two separate entities. We share Brandywine in our name. However, the Brandywine Health Foundation was formed as a result of the first sale of the hospital, where the proceeds is what actually formed the Brandywine Health Foundation. But as it currently exists right now, there is no affiliation, no formal agreement between the Brandywine Health Foundation and Tower Health Brandywine Hospital. I do know, and for those that are following this in the news, that Tower Health is a larger health system located out of Reading, and they've purchased 5 affiliate hospitals 2 years ago, of which 3 of those hospitals are in Chester County, and Tower Health is having some financial constraints right now. So I believe they're in the process of either looking for a buyer to buy the health system, but I can't speak to where they're at in their process, who they're speaking to, what the outcome is going to be. I just know that they are struggling with some financial hardships and looking to see how to continue to provide primary care services throughout Chester County and also in Philadelphia, because they have an affiliate hospital in the Chestnut Hill area. So that's all that I really can speak to. I don't know if any of the commissioners know anything else on a broader scale of what's going on with Brandywine Hospital and the other 2 hospitals, Phoenixville and Jennersville.
I can just speak briefly on it. They are looking for options. They have all the options on the table. So they're looking for investors as well. They're looking for partners. They're looking for sale of 1 or 2 of the hospitals, sale of the whole facility. But they have enough stability to keep going for a while they sort out their options. Their main goal is to restructure and keep everything they have, and they are working towards that goal. Whether that will be sufficient enough, nobody seems to know at this point, but I think we'll have a much better idea probably late summer.
And then I have one last question. What's being done to get the Homebound in Coatesville registered on Chester County Health Department's site for COVID vaccine? Did we touch on that?
Yeah, folks can sign up for the Homebound program through the call center, and that number is, oh my goodness, Marion, I just forgot it, and I said it earlier, 610-344-6225.
344-6225, and they can call and schedule it. Mm-hmm.
If you can put that in the chat for me, Commissioner Maxwell, I will make sure that we get that out on our Facebook page and we get it through the community coordinator and Growing Greater as well.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Well, does anyone have anything else to share?
I don't have anything to share. I just want to acknowledge the Homebound program and say thank you to the commissioners, because I think that's awesome, you know, that for those that aren't mobile, to be able to register on the call center at least and have the paramedics come out to them. So thank you. Thank you for very much for that.
Okay. Well, I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining us this evening. Again, fingers crossed we can have the next one in person somewhere in Coatesville and possibly outside. But thank you to all presenters. And I will, again, this is being recorded and it will be uploaded to the city's YouTube channel, and it will live there so that you can review it or send it out as you see fit. So thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time and have a great evening.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good
Bye-bye.
night. Thanks, Vanessa.